Climate is really important to people and for many different reasons. And so we find individuals that maybe come and they're looking to learn more about what's going on with this planning process, or individuals who have been in this space for a long time and are really concerned about what the future of our region looks like and what kind of projects will be implemented in order to create a better quality of life. My name is Kara Decker. I'm the Director of Environmental Programs at Grand Valley Metro Council. Grand Valley Metro Council is an alliance of governments in West Michigan where we're concerned with planning processes and creating better environments for our residents to live, work, and play. In 2023, Grand Valley Metro Council received a $1 million grant from the EPA from funds passed down through the IRA. And that program is called the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program. It was a non-competitive grant process, and Metro Council applied because we were able to house the plan for our metropolitan statistical area. So we are the second largest urban population in Michigan outside of Southeast Michigan.
Hi, my name is Amber Graney, and I'm the Vice President of Sustainability at KERAMIDA. I have had the pleasure and privilege of working on the Grand Valley Metro Council West Michigan Healthy Climate Plan for the last 2 years now. And what this plan does is it projects a future forward where West Michigan is working towards net zero greenhouse gas emissions. And what that means is we're trying to create a better quality of life for the people living in West Michigan, as well as generations that are going to come in the future and live in the area.
I'm Nick McCreary. I work on our sustainability team, and my main focus is on climate action planning, decarbonization planning, and anything related to greenhouse gases. Fundamentally, the objective of the plan is to provide a roadmap for the region to reduce greenhouse gas emissions or climate pollution. And the reason that we want to do that is to slow the impacts of climate change. Climate change has a large array of impacts that will impact different communities in different ways. The solutions in order to reduce emissions also has impacts. So we want to make sure that the solutions that we are providing not only reduce climate greenhouse gas emissions, but also provide additional co-benefits like improved job security or improved access to education or a whole range of different co-benefits that can occur with climate action planning. We don't want to have economic development or education be separate from climate action planning. It can all be together, and that's the main objective. Yeah, so the climate action plan is to cover a 4-county region that is organized as an MSA or municipal statistical area, and it's for Western Michigan, essentially around Grand Rapids all the way out to the coast, up to Grand Haven and down to around the Holland area.
Yeah, there are certain deliverables that are required by EPA in this program, and so we spent the first part of the project creating a priority climate action plan, and that was where we worked with local stakeholders to really understand what projects were already happening or already in the works to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And so we needed to understand what was already happening, what kind of groundwork was there. And then we also needed to work with our partners at KERAMIDA to create a greenhouse gas emission inventory so that we knew what our greenhouse gas emissions from that 4-county region was in order to know what projects we needed to implement in order to reduce those harmful emissions.
And so it was during that process of creating the inventory where we sort of organized the emissions into different groups. So we had stationary energy, which is really emissions associated with the consumption of electricity or natural gas. And then we also had transportation, which is emissions associated with the combustion of fossil fuels to move vehicles, whether it be cars, buses, trains, planes. And then we also had waste, which is the emission of greenhouse gases from the decomposition of waste, whether it's in a landfill or a digester or composting, however it might be. And then we had emissions from the agricultural and forestry sector, which mainly looks at what emissions is coming from the transformation of land from a forested or a natural native land to a certain type of property, whether it be pavement or a farm, and what is the change in emissions from that. And then also what are the emissions that are coming out of the agricultural sector, whether it be from livestock or traditional farming. But once we had the baseline inventory, we really understood where the majority of emissions were coming from, which helped us identify okay, we see that transportation and stationary energy are our two largest emission types. We know that we need to dedicate the majority of our strategies towards reducing those emissions.
We lay out decarbonization roadmaps for each of these sectors and also identify how much greenhouse gas emissions could be reduced by doing certain actions.
This is where our community engagement really started to ramp up. We wanted to bring in community experts to pair with our technical expertise to understand what strategies will work from a numbers point of view, what are going to actually reduce emissions, but what is going to be implementable in this community. So we needed that community input.
In total, we have had almost 600 individuals touch the West Michigan Healthy Climate Plan up to this point and provide feedback. Whether that's in open information sessions where people are indicating what their level of interest is in certain topics, or attending informational sessions on what this climate action plan means, or filling out our community impact survey where we got to see how people felt about different elements of our climate action plan. So things like installing EV chargers or looking into carbon sequestration technologies for farms in the region.
My favorite part of the process has been interacting with different stakeholders and different community groups. This process has allowed us through Metro Council to build relationships with people that we don't normally through our other planning processes. And so I think that that's been wonderful, and we've been focusing on making sure that we're addressing low-income disadvantaged communities that are most at risk and could receive detrimental harm from these greenhouse gas emissions. And so it's really important that we're active in those spaces and getting community feedback on what's feasible and what's not feasible to do in order to be able to implement some of these projects for a healthy climate in West Michigan.
It's been really wonderful to see that the Grand Valley Metro Council has gotten funding for these forums to happen and for this plan to be put into place, and then hopefully for it to be implemented. It was a surprise to see so many people from so many different areas of the city and from outside Kent County also, and how supportive and passionate people are about this subject.
A lot of us here are rural, and life is different in rural America. And I sometimes find myself saying it's about time that people are listening to rural America because we're different. We're still old school in many ways. If we could get the people in rural America to change one bad habit, I think that'd be amazing.
So learning about what other people's concerns are in rural areas was something that was really refreshing, to be able to hear kind of what their concerns are with moving forward into sustainability.
What brought me here was the fact that I'm very interested in advancing renewable energy, battery storage within the Grand Haven area. I've been working for about 3 years on developing potential projects using a professional solar design program, Helioscope, and sharing that with the community.
How do we reduce the carbon footprint of ourselves, our community, and of the planet? Because it's important to me, but it's also important to my kids and my grandkids.
Hi, my name is Damaris Potter, and I'm the Climate Action Planner at GVMC in Elgro. And I was originally recruited for this work through the Michigan Healthy Climate Corps, which is a state program that disperses about 30 people across the state to give more capacity to different organizations to do climate work. What we're really focused on is hearing from the communities so they can educate us on what their priorities are when it comes to climate action planning, what they want to see in their communities and how they want to see money used. And so I think this is great work. It's given me the ability to connect one-on-one and really have a deeper connection to the communities that we serve.
The goals that we're setting that align with my Healthy Climate Plan, the Michigan Healthy Climate Plan, they're aggressive, and we understand that. And so any progress is good progress. And we've just been really relying on some of our community partners to communicate those sorts of things. There are some municipalities in our region who have already taken it upon themselves to create their own climate action plans and have invested in and have done some of this work already. Our hope is that those that haven't will realize the importance of this, and then we'll also be able to use what we've been putting together and apply that to their own communities and their municipalities as the needs arise.
Yeah, I think it's going to have a real big impact on the community. I think it's great that we have people thinking about these things from all different sectors, bringing them together. It's been a real collaborative process. I feel like it's going to be successful just for the simple fact that we're bringing a bunch of different people from all different backgrounds together to create a solution that will help West Michigan raise in the ranks of monitoring greenhouse gases and doing the good part for the planet.
Climate solutions can feel overwhelming, even to those of us that prioritize them and value them and believe in their necessity. Breaking it up into digestible bits of what is that going to mean for an organization's change? What is that going to mean for individual behavior change? What does that mean for the type of program funding someone needs? It can feel like we've lost before we get started, but this is going to bring really tangible specifics to each area that needs it.
What I hope this plan does is lay out pragmatic inspiration for the region. Whether you are a business, a resident, a community member, a local official, there is a roadmap in the West Michigan Healthy Climate Plan for you to play a part in getting the region to net zero. At the end of the day, this plan is about creating a better quality of life for everyone in the region. So every morning when you walk outside and you breathe in air, if you want to be breathing clean air, that's a part of this plan. Or if you want to be able to get to work safely, that's involved in the transportation section. Or if you want to make sure that you have energy to be able to flip on your lights every day and not have to be worried about the energy grid resiliency, that's part of this plan. So there's so many elements of our everyday lives integrated into this plan that make a difference.